Is Dave Ramsey right about needing to cut up the credit cards to be financially successful? Let's talk about it. So if you're new here, my name is Teddy. I'm a financial coach and I help you take control of your money to be your best self at home and at work. And it's no secret, I am a Dave Ramsey fan, of course. I love his content. I love the mission. One of the points that Dave gets a lot of flack for is cut up the credit cards. Don't use credit cards for anything. Credit cards steal from your future. And I want to have this conversation with you to hopefully encourage you in your money journey to really reflect on why you have a credit card. So a lot of us get credit cards whenever we are freshly 18 or out of college to build our credit score. And this credit score, what we're taught is that is used for renting an apartment, renting cars, getting a car loan, all these different things. That credit is this thing that we all need in order to be successful with our finances. But in this video, I want to share with you our story about getting into credit cards and that credit score game and why we chose to cut up our credit cards. And it's a lot more than just Dave said so. In fact, going through the process and living without a credit card is one of the most interesting experiences. And I hope my story can kind of give you some time to reflect on whether or not it's right for you. So credit card debt is one of the scariest, most dangerous debts out there, outside of like payday loans and collections and stuff like that. Credit card interest rates, maybe you get a 0% for a year or 18 months, but once those interests kick in, 20%, 25, 30, 33% interest rate on these cards. And if you carry a balance, like if you have an outstanding balance of $10,000, 20% on $10,000 is a lot of money. That's $2,000 a year in interest if you're not paying it off right away. Now, credit cards can be used responsibly, but they also can be used irresponsibly. And this video isn't about getting into the details of how to use a credit card. This is just a story time to really walk through our thinking process, my wife and I, stepping into a lifestyle without a credit card. So we got our first credit card when we first were dating, so back in 2019 or so. And it was our first way to build credit because we wanted to get a home loan. So we got a Discover credit card. It had the interest rate or whatever, but every single month we paid it off. Paid it off before it was due, never ever carried a balance. And we get a little check, like $30 here and there, because we get that 1%, 2% cash back, whatever it was at the time. And we thought we were doing pretty good, pretty responsible. And that card for a couple years, then we got another card from Amazon to save, 5% on our purchases there. And we were just doing great, right? We had 2 credit cards. We never carried a credit card balance. We were able to get a car loan. We were able to get our home because of this credit score and all this stuff. So at the time, we did get value from it. We did build the credit score and got the home, got the rentals, and just your typical credit card stuff. We had the credit cards for probably about 3 or 4 years. And that's when I started hearing more about Dave Ramsey, listening to his podcast, and he made this big thing about cut up the credit cards. Even if you think you can manage them well, you're getting the airline miles, you're getting the points, it's not worth it. Cut it up. And I was like, I was responsible with it. I didn't need to cut it up. That's for those people who carry a balance, who hold on to credit card debt, and who just keep spending and spending. That's not us. So after a while, I really got into all things Dave Ramsey, and I was starting to understand the mentality that cutting up the credit card was not supposed to be a financial decision. It's much more an emotional, psychological decision on how holding onto that card has impacted our life. For me personally, cutting up that credit card was scary because I had it for 4 years, 5 years. It helped our credit score, even though it wasn't that great. We had like a 650, like it wasn't anything to celebrate. But having that credit card was like a safety blanket, and the decision to cut it up was hard. It was almost like flying on an airplane without any safety, any parachute, any seatbelt, anything like that. Because it's like, oh, what if something comes up and I need to put it on a credit card? What if there is fraud and the credit card protects me more or quicker than my debit card can? all the same things that you're thinking. I'm not going to be able to rent a car. I'm not going to be able to get a house. All this stuff were scary things. But the day we decided to cut up the cards, our life didn't change. We weren't taking on new debt anyways. We already had our house. And it was almost a sense of relief that I don't have to check the Discover app anymore to see what the balance is and make sure it's paid off. Like, we had 2 credit cards and 2 debit cards, and now we only have the 2 debit cards. The simplicity of not having to juggle all that stuff. Oh, I'm getting the cash back. I'm getting the points, the miles, whatever. And then I need to make sure that my balance is paid off and doesn't carry over. And for both cards, and then all this stuff, seeing how it affects my credit score. It was like mental just clutter. So getting rid of the cards were scary. Getting rid of the cards was a scary experience. Closing both accounts was scary because I'm about to lead FPU. I'm teaching a lot of the same principles, yet I'm not walking it. And so that moment is when I decided to walk that line. The mental clarity I had to just focus on those 2 cards, the budgeting was so much easier and more simple. The spending decisions we made were more closely attached to feeling it in our bank account. Like when we swipe the credit card, it hurts a lot less. Actually, it doesn't even hurt at all compared to swiping a debit card. And so that transition from the credit card swipe to the debit card swipes probably saved us a few hundred, maybe even thousands of dollars over that time. And it was a level of peace that I didn't really understand. I didn't even have to worry about checking that statement anymore. And so we went without a credit card for about a year, maybe a year and a half. And then we were tempted again. So my wife and I were shopping at Kohl's. We had like a $200 purchase. The offer was you get 35% off your purchase if you sign up for a credit card. And so doing the math, I'm like, oh, that's like 60 something dollars. So let's just sign up for it, pay it off, and get rid of it. And so that's what we did. We signed up, we got the $60 off. The balance was like 180 or something like that on our card, paid it off immediately, closed it the next day. Thinking, okay, we just came out positive. We are rocking this game. And as I was trying to close the card, they were saying, you have a balance on your account and we'll send you a check for the 180 whatever dollars. And I literally argued with them, this is not my money. You need to keep it because I paid it. I should not have a balance, a credit to give back to me. And they just kept insisting. And this just goes to show kind of how inefficiently run these credit card companies are, especially the ones that back those stores. Like whenever you get a store credit card, the store has a credit card, but there's like a bank or institution behind it. And this is just so poorly run that I was telling them, no, I had a charge of 100 whatever. I paid it off. I should not be getting any money back. They kept insisting. I was like, whatever, just send me the check. A month goes by and then I get a bill in the mail saying I owe, I think it's 185 plus $4 in interest. And so you bet I called them up. I was like, hey, I closed this account. You gave me the money back and you charged me interest on it. Like, what is the issue? I kid you not, they transferred me to like 5 different people and didn't even resolve the issue. Then I had to call again, and then my wife was calling. It probably took about 3 or 4 phone calls, and in total, maybe getting transferred like 15 or 20 times. And I'm not even exaggerating. This is legitimate, and I will fully put Kohl's on blast because like this was our actual experience. And that $60 savings that we thought we were getting was not worth it because we ended up having over 4 or 5 hours worth of headache trying to resolve this. Finally, after all those phone calls and transfers, we were able to close the account and they were like, okay, just send us the money back. And so we send the money back. And then a month later goes by and we still have another bill for that $4 in interest. I'm just thinking, why are we still getting charged this interest? Like, are there so many like breaks in this system that they don't understand that when I sent that money back, they should have already wiped off that interest? So again, 2 more phone calls, maybe 4 more transfers to finally get that $4 of interest off. Like, imagine if I wasn't aware of that. Like, imagine the danger that you or someone you know is going through because they don't pay attention to this kind of stuff. Like, if we didn't pay attention, we would have been charged $4 in interest, and that would have kept stacking and stacking. Moral of the story is, it's not only that credit card that caused the issue. We were only able to resolve it with intentionality with our spending, intentionality with getting our money and getting all the things right. Getting that card reminded me of how much of a headache it was to even deal with a whole other system of finances when I could just simplify it down to a debit card. Personal finance has so much more to do with behavior and psychology than it does actually with the money. You know, you can get cash back, you can get airline miles, but if it's causing you stress or if it's adding more mental clutter for you, is it really worth it? Those 2%, those 5%, whatever, comes at a cost. And especially if you don't know how to even properly use a credit card for your credit score, to not carry a balance and not get into credit card debt, that is extremely dangerous. It's just like a double-edged sword if you're not really intentional with it. And so ever since then, we cut up the credit card and have not gone back to getting another card. And it is freeing. Yes, we're out of debt, like out of consumer debt. We have our mortgage still, so we still have a credit score because of that. But not having to juggle that anymore or see payments come out for like a car loan and just being debt free is so freeing. And our next goal is to be able to pay off that house. So that's my story. You know, you take what you will from this. This is a free video, right? Like, I'm not telling you need to cut up your cards, but I do hope that if you decide to do that, if you take the chance to cut up your card and just try living without it, you may experience quite a bit of freedom, not having to worry about that anymore. And guess what? If you cut it up in about 2 seconds, you call up a bank, they'll send you a credit card. They will already have one ready for you. It is so easy to get back into the credit game. It's hard to leave it. So I hope you got value from this video. I hope you maybe connected with the story or actually just reflected on why you keep your credit card. And if you're at a point where you continue seeing that credit card balance grow, cutting it up will drastically change your spending behaviors because you can't keep adding more to the debt. It's one of those social work principles that when you change your environment, you can change your behaviors. And that's one of the most powerful things. Cutting up your card is changing your environment, changing your spending behaviors so that you're not spending as much. And that's what I focus on in my coaching practice. All these videos, all the content, my one-to-one coaching is focused on the spending behaviors because the biggest issue I see isn't, I don't know how to make a budget. That is an issue, absolutely. But when you make the budget, the real work starts. How do I actually stick to the budget? How do I leverage my human psychology, my environment, my tools and skills to spend in a way that adds value to my life, but still allows me to save, still allows me to stick with a budget? And if that's you, if that's something you're interested in talking about, my socials and my links are all in the description. So if you're ready to change your life, ready to change up your spending behaviors, reach out to me. That's it for this video. I hope you got value. And remember, money and mental health are so related. So get control of your money so you don't let your money get control over you. Thank you for watching to the end of the video. I hope you got a nugget of information or a breakthrough that'll help you on your journey. And if you want more content like this, go ahead and click over here for more videos or over here to subscribe. And I hope to see you in the next one.